Good evening, 2Old4Forza. Good evening, 2Old4Forza. Good evening. Thank you, SoCal with 2Old4Forza. With the first track guide for TNT. What are we up to now? TNT season 39. This season in the Porsche Macan. Um, so, a couple twists. We're now back into. I think this is the first all-wheel drive car we've been in since the Juke. I want to go back and say the Juke. Maybe we've been in something else that was all-wheel drive since then. But I know that there was some. A bunch of us had some fond memories of how well the Juke raced with the setup that was on it. So hopefully this Macan will provide similar good racing. So a couple of things to note this season, as you guys may or may not know. Uh, Instead of doing a 70 to 75-minute long race, one single race each week, that's kind of going back to the old format where we're doing two shorter races on Thursday. Um, but I don't want to say the twist. The difference is instead of it being like two different tracks, it's going to be at the same location, so the same environment, but different circuits. So for this week one, that'll be coming up next Thursday. It's going to be two shorter races in the Porsche Macan, one on the club circuit and then one on the full circuit. And I don't know. I think he's going to do a full circuit first and then the club circuit. So the track guides for me this season, depending on the circuit, I may try to do both guides in one, or in some cases, depending on the differences in the layout, it might be easier to actually do two separate. For Road Atlanta, there's not much of a difference between club and the full circuit, as far as the bulk of the club circuit is in the full circuit, and it's just that couple extra straightaways there. So what I'm going to do is, I think the plan for tonight is I want to run some laps around on the short circuit, and then kind of do the track guide portion there. I want to switch over to the full circuit and then kind of do a track guide there for the portions of the full circuit that haven't been covered, and then run the mock race on the full circuit and go from there. So with that, I am on the short circuit here. Let me hop in and do a test drive, and I'm actually going to do a quick out lap just to kind of refresh my memory a little bit. And we'll go from there. So down to turn one, fourth gear. I'll be braking a little bit later to get to that one, but in the hill. Look for the curving on the left side. Lift. Up there. Yeah, that corner, that entry is. I'm still trying to figure out what I like, what works best as far as getting around there. The other nice thing I've been noticing with the Macan is, unlike the previous three seasons where we had cars that were very, let's say, curb adverse. It's nice to be in a vehicle that can can eat curbs and not get upset. So for the slow lap here, for the slow turn by turn, you're going to be coming down the front stretch. If you leave it in fourth, you're going to be winding up fourth gear. You're going to be right at the top of the rev range by the time you're ready to brake for turn one. You can put it in fifth; it's up to you. But you'll just be about on the rev limiter in fourth. For me, the braking is I'm not this first cone, but the second cone there. That's usually kind of, as long as it's there, it's what I kind of use as a extra braking marker. But as that goes out of view, it's usually about where I'm getting on the binders and dropping it down to third. I'm not sure exactly. I have to pay attention where I'm releasing, but again, it's an all-wheel drive Porsche, so when you're on the brakes, the car is not going to want to turn all that easily until you start to release it. And at that point, then it kind of frees the car up. The way weight will transfer and the car will start to turn. So, for your initial braking, it's going to be, you can start to turn the car in a little bit, but you're really not going to be turning or committing to the turn until you release the brakes. So usually then I'll release the brakes here. I don't know that I've hit this apex yet in practice, but kind of what I think I like to do, or what I think works best. If you notice, the curbing, it's a turn, but the curbing isn't just this nice smooth arc in turn one. If you kind of notice, it curves a little bit, and then there's a little sharper of a curve, and it kind of flattens a bit, and then it curves again just past the cone. So visually, as I'm turning in for turn one, I kind of like to try and get the car parallel here, parallel with the curbing at the apex, um, as I start to roll back into power. The cone out there on the outside is a good reference point. If you want to target that, you can bring the car out. You can bring it all the way out there. You can maybe bring out mid-track. It's up to you. Coming up the hill, still third gear. Bring the car back across. And what you're looking for, what I'm looking for is to find that inside curb on the left side. And I think when we were last year, I think it was in the Porsche, one of the things I realized is if you can get the car parallel, let me see if I can go outside the view here. Yeah, if you can get kind of the car parallel with this white curbing on the left side, if you notice, then I'm pointed. Go to photo mode. I think that's what I did last time. I went to photo mode. So if I got the car kind of parallel with the white curbing there on the left side, I can go straight. It will take me straight to the curbing on the right for the apex. So what it'll be is, let me get back here, let me get back in. There we go. So parallel here, it'll be straight. It'll be a quick dab of the brake, and then turn and hit the apex. For me, this is one of those that you can gain or lose tenths just here, depending on if you're able to, if you hit or miss this apex. You can take a lot of curbing on this, and again, usually it's the faster way is to kind of eat some curb as you crest over the hill. Again, the setup on this Macan, it's not going to upset the car too much to eat some curbing here or there. So you can definitely play around with, getting on the curb, getting on the grass, and see how close you can cut it without incurring a time penalty. I'll still be in third gear coming out of this. I'll bring the Macan all the way over. I'll try to not bring it all the way to the left just to give myself a little bit of turning room here. But it'll be third gear as it comes through here. Going to be a quick lift of the throttle just to help. Again, it's all about managing the weight transfer and getting some weight on the front tires to get it to turn, maybe even getting the back a little light to try and rotate the Macan through these next couple of turns here. We'll back into the throttle. Same thing here. A lot of times I'm putting it up in fourth gear. My general philosophy is, if I've got gravity to help me accelerate, then I'm going to put it in higher gear. Maybe upshift a little sooner and let gravity help me accelerate. But as you come down through here, third or fourth gear, you are going to have to lift. And for me on the controller, what I'm trying to do when I lift, is I'm trying to lift it and get it to turn to get the weight transfer to kind of get the back end to rotate. And this truck is because it's all-wheel drive, it is very understeery. So I'm trying whatever I can with lift-off oversteer in some places to get the back end to rotate so that I can get, again, ultimately as I get it rotated, that I can kind of get it pointed as straight down through here as possible. So I stay off the curb on the right side there, but this next one, especially on the road course, on the forward road course, don't be afraid to cross over onto this curbing. I mean, you can get quite a ways over without, like you can see the rewind hasn't popped yet, so I haven't even dirtied the lap. So you can straight line it over this curbing. It doesn't upset the truck that much. back up on here. Usually I'm in fourth gear. But this is where I'm still trying to figure out the exact right time. I kind of know what I want to do. It's like I'm still trying to figure out the entry as far as where I need to be and when I need to turn in. But what I want to point out is, much like in turn one, the inside curbing there isn't this nice, even, smooth uh, arc into into the section that cuts across for the club circuit. So what I'm looking for is there's actually I would almost say that there's two apexes or on this turn, and I try to miss the first one and hit the second one. So the first one is right about there, and you can kind of see it. It's the second one up here. This is the one I'm trying to get. I'm trying to get it arced in, so I'm entering this. So I'm entering this crossover section, probably a little bit further to the inside than what the racing line wants you to take, and that might be an aggressive turn in on my part. The risk is that I'll carry too much speed in and push wide, mid corner on exit, which will kill the lap time. But if I do it right, and usually I'm downshifting back to third here to get the car in. But once I'm in and the car's set, then I'm re-accelerating. I'm on the inside the entire way through this corner. And then it'll be an upshift to fourth as I exit. For me, it seems to work best. You guys will have to figure that out of how well it works for you. And then on the exit, just keep it to the right side. Usually I just kind of straddle this seam all the way down to the braking zone. You will be carrying a lot of speed down through here. For the club circuit, where I'm braking and where it seems to line up with, as far as static markers on the track with the braking line, I'm braking for the final chicane here, right about where this seam ends. So it is right about in here, between here and I think this white line is too late. We'll see I'll run another couple of quick laps to see what we get. But on the full circuit, you'll be braking a little bit further back. Obviously, you'll be carrying a lot more speed. But third gear, let's see, fourth gear. I think this is one of those that if you're gonna have it in fourth, you're gonna be winding it up to, at the top of the rev range. So it's up to you. If you want to put it in fifth, you can. But definitely coming down braking zone here, I'm bringing it all the way down to second gear. And then for the turn in, again, we got a nice SUV with some nice compliant suspension. Go ahead and eat some curb here as best you can. And you can eat some curb late here on the exit. And on the way up the hill, over the hill, third gear, crest the hill. I like, hashtag me personally, I like staying to the left of the pit commit line. This white dotted line is kind of denoting the entry to pit lane. I usually don't like to cross over it. You can if you want. Again, find the line that works best for you. Usually I just kind of stay right on it, bring the car down, and right about where that curbing ends and where the white lines start is about where I'm looking to turn in. And what I'm finding is, and this is, again, for me on a controller, I've only got so much wheel lock I can dial in or have control over. So a lot of times I'm going full lock, as I'm turning in for this corner, and then using the throttle to kind of balance the car. It's why I think when I said in the chat, that's like, it'd be nice if I had a little more lift off oversteer to play with, but you can, as you start to turn in, you can stay on the throttle till about where it flattens out. And then you're probably going to want to lift just a little bit just to help rotate the car. And again, this isn't a straight, kind of a decreasing radius turn. So it kind of starts to turn in gradually, and then it sharpens up right at the apex. And the apex happens to be on a slight crest of the hill as you exit out onto the front stretch. So kind of where you can get in here and kind of where roll back in the throttle back across the hill. You might have to adjust the throttle a little bit, just depending on how the Porsche comes over the hump there. Depending on how much speed you're carrying, it might push out a little bit. Just have to correct the throttle just to get some grip back to the front. Excuse me, and then cross the line. So We just run a lap or two, because I'm not going to do a race here. Just run a couple more hot laps. Third gear. Gonna wind it out. Ping it. Lift. Back in the throttle. Do I get it right this time? Yes, it still drifts wide a little bit. I don't think you need to brake to go in there, but let me try a brush on the brakes next time through. That was a little bit of a lock. Here. I think I was running laps in the low 105s. I think when I got up to speed, there might be 104 out there somewhere. I missed that apex. Ooh, go way wide there. More laps to see if we can get the entry to that corner. Correct. That wasn't well done. A little too much power straightened out there. Even there, you can kind of tell as I came off the throttle, the back end, car rotated a little bit to get it into the corner. That's kind of what I typically like to do. I don't know if that's the best way to get into that corner. But ideally you want to try to stay to the inside as much as you can through there. Cracking the throttle there at the apex. Do one more here. Yeah, see, the racing line wants you to take a narrower. It's almost like they want you to go in narrow, go out wide, and bring it back. But this Macan understeers so much that if you do that and you're carrying too much speed in, you're just going to go way wide and open the door up for people to pass on the inside. 10th later. I got to do one more. Okay, so that's the club circuit. Yeah, that last time through the that right hander into the crossover to the backstretch. That's kind of what I like to do to try and keep it to the inside. So I think that's going to be, and that'll be in the race. That's going to be the place. Just wait for people. If you've got good control going in there, and you can keep it to the right side, a lot of times you just might be passing people because they're going to push wide, and you'll be able to duck underneath them. It will put you on the outside if you're side by side hanging down into the final chicane, but at least you're in a position to make a pass, or at least attempt one. Hopefully, maybe force them to go off. So that's the short circuit. Again, if Bucket 5 are running in the low 105s, who knows? Jokingly, Stu might put it in the 104s. Hell, Landroll might put it in the 104s. The cheater. Um, you might be looking at maybe 32 laps as a ballpark. So just this one will be a high lap count, but it's a quick lap. So with that, I'm going to finish the test drive, and let's go ahead and switch over to to the full circuit. Also new for me this season. I finally bit the bullet, and I'm actually streaming on the Series X now. So I took the time. I unloaded a game or two that I'm not playing on the Series X, and brought Forza 7 over, set up Twitch, and so this is the first test of it. So hopefully the broadcast quality will be good. But go ahead and do a test drive here. And won't spend a lot of time on the stuff we've already covered, because it's not going to change all that much. And down to third. The hill. Okay, so I'm going to slow it down here. So third gear, I'm usually in fourth gear heading down through here. Again, I tend to stay off the curbing here right on to the immediate right. But with the Macan, the curbing, these next two curbings, heading onto the final left to get onto the short back straight, or the short straight, I don't know the turn numbers. Anyhow, um, I'm almost gonna straight line it down through here. So same thing, as I bring it down through here, I'm just gonna abuse this curb. Now this next one, I won't abuse it that much. You know, I usually if I'm getting on it, I'm just getting on it. And if you can kind of tell how the curb is angled, if you just get on it, you might feel the curbing kind of push the Macan to the left a little bit or unsettle it just slightly. Again, but it's you know it's something I notice on the controller. I don't know if you guys will notice on the wheel. You know, but I'll get on this curbing a little bit, and then it's a and usually that curbing is kind of my indication of for braking. So I'm getting hard on the brakes as I'm hitting that curb, downshifting to third, and you'll be able to abuse this curving as well, coming onto the back straight, onto the straight here, and usually I do extend all the way out, and I'll straddle the white line on exit, and bring the car back. Just the natural arc, the car will just come back across the left side. Braking here for me is just past the 2, and it's you can just see the white dash line going perpendicular across the track there. That's usually where I'm braking, and I think that correlates pretty well with the braking line, but when in doubt, you can look for that. Fourth gear, it'll be down to third. On my own, I'll be in third. Release the brakes right here. In traffic, especially if you're trying to make a pass into this corner, you'll need to go to second. But if you can carry speed, it'll be a little low in the rev range. You could be in third exiting out of here. Setting up for the final turn, I tend to take a late turn in. Braking, I'm kind of going off that light pole that's right there by the mirror. As that goes out of view, that's about when I'm getting on the brakes for this next right-hander. Down to second, the late turn in, keep some curb, and roll back into the throttle. All the way out to the left side, and just accelerate. The kink, just let the car come back out to about the middle. Long straight. And again, much like on the club circuit, as it's the kink here coming down to the final chicane, you know, I'll straddle the braking line here. The braking's a little bit earlier. The braking's a little bit earlier. It's just past, if I remember correctly. For me, the braking will be just past. It'll be past the 2, but I think I'm braking maybe about here. So I'll be braking before I get to the end of the sealer strip here, or a seam on the pavement. So it's probably about here I'll be braking. You know, hard for me to say. You know, it's not really halfway between the 2 and the 1. Maybe it is, but it is going to be heavy braking right about here. But again, the rest of it, you know, again, the bulk of the technical bits for Road Atlanta, you're going to be on the club circuit. So there's not much else beyond that on the full, except for just setting up for those final 2 turns. So what I'm going to do is, and this is all the same here. You know, if you watch the club circuit portion, it's not any different here. So I'm going to go ahead and finish the test drive and set up for the race. And so for this season, we'll see how this works out. I'm trying to do it like a Porsche revival meeting or Porsche owners meeting. I'm in the Macan. I'll be racing against. Hopefully, I just want to double check it. A-class Porsches will be going out first, followed by S-class Porsches. But I've also limited it to rear-wheel drive, and then finally bring it up in bucket 3. I'm actually going to start. I want to be the third group that starts. I'm going to start at 55 seconds. And then the final group behind me that's going to hopefully push me a little bit will be R-Class Porsches. I've also limited that to the rear-wheel drive. So we should get some nice, hopefully a few nice race cars out there. So, whoops. Oh, I don't want to load saved options. Let's go ahead. at that. I'm guesstimating based off of lap times I've run that maybe your race is going to be somewhere around 20 to 22 laps or so, depending on how Matt figures that out. But let's see. Oh, wait. The other thing I got to make sure of. Yes, I do have quick stops on. So let's go ahead and start the race. We got oh, I got a pink pig, got a couple of RSRs. Should be fun. Hopefully it's fun. I think the relative lap times, the first group that went out is there. If we're not equal, I'm a little quicker than them. Then these next two groups, these guys and the guys behind me, are definitely quicker than I am. But again, where they may be quicker on their own, they are very tentative passing in traffic. So should be able to make up the gap there. Plus I am very brazen and daring driving. The best start, but with what we got. The other thing I'm noticing is with this, at least some of the testing I did yesterday, I don't know, again, it's only one quick stop to work with, but I don't think fuel and tires are going to be an issue at all, really. So I think the one thing I want to clarify is, since we are running the shorter race, are we back to the rule where your quick stop has to be between 15 and 25 minutes? That'll be, I don't know if that's been discussed or not. Or if we're just going to open up and say pit whenever you want. And where they're going to sail past it. First thing I noticed when I started playing Forza 7 on the Series X is the frame rate on the rear. Typically, Forza's always been on previous consoles where 60 frames locked while driving, replays at 30, and then the rear view mirror was also at 30 frames per second. And then when I loaded in and ran like my first test race, I'm like, wait a minute. That's running at 62. Why didn't I do the switch sooner? Uh-oh. Hang on, I gotta pause here a second. I just lost all vibration in the controller. Which means the battery is going to die. Go ahead and plug in real quick. There we go. All right, I didn't like that at all. Yep, all right, hang on. I'm going to restart the race and I'm going to go silent here for a second because I want to swap the battery out. Should have charged up before I did this. Okay, and we're back. Hopefully we're back. I can hear. Hopefully you can hear me. Okay, there. Over that. So, all right. Hopefully the battery I've got in now will last the race. Barely used the curve there. I'm sorry, you wanted by? Keep the left side open. Oh, I didn't mean to. Yes, I did mean to do that. That'll be nice. Again, all-wheel drive, big bulky SUV is when you're on full throttle, it's not going to want to steer. So You'll probably be doing a lot of feathering on the throttle. Do that right. It is nice to be in a vehicle this time that can abuse the curbs a bit, not have to worry about totally upsetting the car. I mean, is this a car or is it a truck? Or is it... an SUV? Ooh, he's getting a little impatient. And the bump drafting you down the back straight again. Ugly. Yeah, second's going to be a little too high up in the rev range for that turn. Unless you're really slow. They're right in the middle. Let's see what they do. looking for the crossover. I just don't have the near enough straight line. Now, hopefully, I'm interesting to see what the AI are like in the next Forza Motorsport game. Holy crap, did they come up on me? Oh, thank you for helping me through that turn. I don't think I would have managed the rotation on my own. What I would love to have, especially for these kind of, track guides like that, is to actually be able to set up kind of one of these kind of mock races, but with the actual with the actual vehicle, that we're all in the same vehicle. The AI is running the same portion of con, but that their skill level is at a place where I can run a competitive race or a fun race with the AI, and we're all in the same car. Instead of kind of trying to jury-rig it and find an approximation. Because the nice thing about having the traffic is it's great to have traffic, but all these cars have, they're fast in some places and slow in others that are different than the Macan. So, it makes it difficult, like for here. Those guys are wickedly fast in the straight, but maybe I'll. Oh, that's a bit aggressive. He didn't like me for some reason. Little lift of the throttle just to kind of help rotate the car in there. Yep, definitely third gear. Oh, set pick with the 911. What I'll do is when we get to lap 10, into lap 10, I'll just kind of see where we're at in fuel and tires. And again, I think I don't think that's going to be an issue at all this season, especially since we're running shorter races. But really, then it just comes down to strategy. When do you want to use that pit? If you're higher bucket starting further back, is it worth pitting early just so that you can maybe get some clear traffic and leapfrog the lower buckets on pit cycle? If I can flip this guy up to the I have just enough room. Almost made that work, and it's going to cost me another position. Just about. And Big Pig is just helping me rotate through the turns. Very helpful. At least it's nice to know that that if you do, I think that's the hope with this as well, is that incidental contact is not going to completely send this on spinning out off the track or rolling over. Not that we should be trying to push and shove each other around, but like that. Laps in 59, so about 40% fuel. Yeah, fuel's not going to be an issue. Tire. Oh god, not even 10% on the left front. Alright, we're going to try... Oh, you're going to leave the door open for me? I'm waiting for these guys to take themselves out. But much to love to stick around. I'm going in. And I'm last. Okay, so exiting pits. Let's see what happens when... I think this pit's usually one of the better pit exits. Yeah, so keep it to the right. Bring it back across. You're already in third, so... And then you're right back on the racing line. Alright, well let's see if we can run a quick lap. A few quick laps while we're still in clear air. Yeah, I'm kind of releasing the brakes right before you get to the right before I get to that flag stand there, shack. Lay on the brakes getting into there. $25.7 and take it down and knock those couple of tenths back off there. There we go. You can see, you can take a lot of that curve at the top of the hill. And right there, it's already almost 1.5 tenths up. Be careful if you're going to eat a lot of curbing. Just be careful they don't turn in too early, and then wind up pushing wide on exit, where then you have to get out of the throttle and lose any momentum that you're trying to gain. The other thing is I'm not using manual with clutch. I'm just doing regular manual. I don't know. Again, I'm assuming unless if this is the stock transmission, I'm assuming then it's, you know, quote unquote, you know, Porsche's, you know, PDK, which should be pretty quick on the upshifts, where I don't know that manual clutch is going to be much of an advantage at all. I always slow in that last turn. You can set a pass up there, and I remember from the Juke race that trying to pass into that corner onto this long back straight, you can do it, but unless you can take the normal racing line on the way out, you may have the guy you're trying to pass kind of sticking with you and have the inside line for this corner here. So, you know, it might be discretion, may be the better part of valor, and to try and just follow them out and maybe set the pass up to the chicane. The other thing I don't know is, and you guys will find out, is, you know, can you draft with this thing? And if so, how big of a draft is it? Well, that's cool the way the rear wing deploys. That's me being a little too aggressive. I'm running out of laps. May have to tweak the delay for the initial group for the two. I guess group 3 at that point. Green one. They are nowhere to be seen. Put them back closer to me. You see that understeer on full throttle? Take a lot of curve there. Get into the grass. Laps to go. And I catch the cars in front. That turn's going to be interesting. There's too much speed into it. You run that risk of going way wide on exit. AI really slow in the final turn. Put it a little bit. Work. I will definitely close on him in the final chicane, but I don't know that I'm going to be able to make the pass before start finish. Unless I wreck him. I could always do that. Could go for the total off-roading. Nope. Well, at least then on the final lap, I can say you don't want to try and go off-roading into the final turn because it's just going to push straight across there. But so that's Road Atlanta. Again, this SUV, I think I'm hoping provides some good racing, similar to what we had with the Juke. I remember the Juke was a lot of fun. This one's a little bit, the Macan's a little bit bigger, and build-wise, I think it is a little bit quicker. I think we were running high 130s here in the Juke. So I think that was a C-Class car as well, a C500. But anyhow, that's Road Atlanta. Again, it's two short races on Thursday. Probably Road Atlanta Full and then Road Atlanta Club. So with that, hope you guys have a great weekend and happy racing.